Wonderful.
Awesome.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to, can't believe, honestly, when I'm saying this, welcome to the Race Day Strategy webinar. Or another way of saying it is we are this close to the race day and the end of season 12 summer session. As I say every week, we all are so proud of you. We all are so proud of all of you. It's not easy to make a decision to go for a long distance training program, which you all did. But what is even more hard is actually follow through that decision and go through the structured training program, which we all know. It's not an easy thing to keep at it week over week, day after day, meso after meso. And we all are here just a week away from the race day for a large portion of people. And I'm sure those of you who are not doing it in the New Jersey race day, the race day is just around the corner, 1, 2, 3 weeks. And that is pretty much it. Hey, Coach Sanjay, welcome. So here we are at the beginning of the end, so to speak, the beginning of this journey, which is our destination, the journey to the start line. And that start line, as far as we all are concerned, is just a week away. Next week, October 19th, is the race day. And that is the official end of the summer season as well. So I just wanted to say congratulations, guys. This was just absolutely a beautiful journey. And you all have worked hard as coaches. We have seen you, how you have put in your effort day in and day out. And here you are. So with that, let me lay context to what is this session is all about. This session is a very sort of tactical, but a little bit of strategy, but a lot of tactical session. That means, what do we need to do from now to the beginning of the race, and what should be our strategy during the race and maybe a little bit post-race as well. This is from, I would say, all the coaches got together. That means a joint experience of maybe 250 full marathons. That's the joint experience we are talking about. We all came together and and asked ourselves, what are some of the learnings we have? How do we codify those learnings and how do we share it with our runners? And that's how this thing started. This is our, I think we are doing it every season, almost 8th or 9th time we are doing this. Just 1 week before the race, we conduct this session and we continuously improve on the content. And this is our latest and greatest thinking on what we need to do from now to the race day experiences at a tactical level. So as always, we have put together a short deck. I'll share my screen and I'll walk you through the sort of the initial philosophical strategic section of how to prepare for a race day. Then I'm going to hand it over to Coach Sharik, who will walk us through what you need to do day in and day out, like from today to the race day. What are some of the tactical items you need to be thinking about? What you need to do on the night before the eve of the race day? What you need to do on the morning of the race day? How do you execute a run during the race? And then what you need to do post-race. That's the sort of the tactical side of this session, which Coach Sharik will lead. And then I will take over and then we'll finish this session. Okay, so that's the plan. When I share my screen, obviously I won't be able to see you chat with me, but we have Coach Sanjay here who has got access to the chat window. Sharik also has got access to the chat window. So you can ask your questions and they will answer in the best possible way. Okay. With all of that, welcome again. Please, those of you who just joined now, please go to the chat window and say hello to everybody. In that way, you know how to connect with all of us. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen and Coach Sanjay, if you can just tell me if you're able to see my screen, we are in good shape. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Coach, I can.
Wonderful. Okay. It's just loading. Wonderful. Race day strategy. As I said, you guys were committed, you were resilient, you had fun, and here we are. The 3 pillars that drive our plan has been evident right through your journey. Congratulations, folks. First of all, as they say, it's time for us to start with our guru, our coach. And boy, for you to be here, these are the set of folks that are behind the scenes who came in, who worked with you all and brought you here. So I just wanted to say thank you, coaches, for making this moment a possibility for all of us at RHWB. Thank you, guys. So coach, without coach, nothing happens. And here we are. Of course, for us to come here, there is a large set of management team members who make all of this possible. And I just wanted to call all of those folks out: Arvind, Sapna, Raman, Suren, Akansh, Tanish, Rekha, Sudarshana, Anjali, Renu, Mona, and Aparna, Coach Aparna. They all are working behind the scenes in various capacities for making this now a huge machinery called RHWB function like a well-oiled machinery. So thank you, guys. As the quote says, success is a journey and not a destination, and which is, I'm sure all of us would agree. It is not just about what happens on the race day, but it is about what we all have done towards our journey to the start line of the race day. And in many respects, I think all of us are already successful because we are here. So you should definitely pat yourself on the back for sticking to the program and doing things, the difficult way, but the right way. Well done, guys. Well done. So I always want to start off with a more of a philosophical thought. The thought that one of the sacred books in Hinduism, Bhagavad Gita, which is not now, it's the learnings are profound and it's applicable to not just one religion, and it's a very powerful thought, especially for runners, because there is something in there, this learning. So let me just just play
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भू मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि.
It's a very powerful sloka, phrase from Bhagavad Gita that has got a deep, deep inner meaning. And essentially, if I boil that down, all it really says is that do your duty, but do not concern yourself with the results. You have the right to work hard, but you do not have the right to get the best results just because you worked hard. NATO, not attached to outcome. I mean, it's a very deep statement, folks, especially within the context of what we are doing. What you control is the process and not the outcome. If the process is good, you give yourself the highest chance of a good outcome. But just because you went through the process really well doesn't guarantee a good outcome. And that is why it says don't get attached to the outcome. Please be making sure that you do the process right. And as you keep doing the process right more and more and more times, you are increasing your probability of a successful outcome. Now, when you think about it from the perspective of what we are taking on right now, doing a half marathon, a full marathon, a 5K or a 10K, especially first-time runners, it is a huge endeavor. What happens on a race day? You might think, I want to do A, B, and C. All my training is giving me that point. But it's possible that on the race day, something happens. And when something happens, you are not able to execute to what you thought you wanted to do. That is a race day outcome. But that doesn't mean your journey was a failure. Your journey was about the process, the training framework that we all have been going through for the last 16 weeks. And the very fact that you are in the start line, you are already a success story. So that's why it's a very profound lesson. Do your duty. You have the right to work hard, but you do not have the right to get the best result for working hard. That's the point number one. Secondly, after the race day, let's assume that you have achieved your success. Now that you have achieved your success, that is the time you need to share your success with so many folks who have made that success possible for you. Whether it is your family, whether it is your children supporting you, whether it is your coach, whether it is your fellow runners, these are the folks who are there. Or in a race day, the volunteers who are helping you, giving you the gel, giving you the water. These are the folks without whom you won't be successful on that day. So make sure when you succeed, you take the time and the grace to Share that achievement with everybody else, because it is their success as well. Your success is their success as well. And finally, do not be attached to inaction. Something is better than nothing. And the very fact that you are here, you already have a check mark on item number 3. What you have done is you have done a lot more than something. Yes, there might be a few days you couldn't run, you couldn't train, but you know what? You were resilient enough and you came back. That is why you are focused on action. And that's what this Bhagavad Gita phrase teaches us. It's always good to step back and keep thinking about that. As we move forward now, let's ask ourselves, how are you all feeling now that you're just a week from the race day? I'm sure somebody is anxious and nervous. Someone is excited. Let me take a quick poll. So I'll stop sharing for a second. Why don't you all go to the chat window? Press A if you are anxious, or press E if you're excited. Let's see. Let's take a quick sort of a population poll. Hey, Coach Saurabh, good to see you, man. Okay, a lot of A's, a lot of E's. Let's see. Okay, E's. Actually a mixed feeling. Totally okay. A and E. Oh my God, A and E, A and E. Okay, see, listen to this. When you look at the population there, you can see the sense. There are folks who are excited, and there are folks who are anxious, and there are folks who are both anxious and excited. And I can guarantee you that is how it is. Even if you're doing the 15th full marathon, 20th full marathon, a combination of anxiousness and excitement is a normal par for the course feeling. Let me ask my fellow coaches, would you all agree with it? Or how would you look at it when you look at the coach Sharik?
I'm so amazed that you said 15, because this will be my 15th full marathon and I'm absolutely still very anxious.
Coach Saurabh, how do you approach this?
I echo Sharik's word, man. Every time you get onto the race day, yeah, I usually don't get a good sleep day before, and that's how it is.
It's incredible. And Sanjay, is that the same with you as well?
Not really. I try to stay very stoic about it. So don't get worked up at all. Just try and do my best to let the training take its course.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And believe in my coaches. Yeah.
Wonderful, dog. See, listen, that's why the reason why I started off with that is those of you who are anxious, I want you all to know that that's normal. That's par for the course. At the end of the day, especially let's say you're a first time full marathon, 26 miles is almost an inhuman thing to do for your body. Okay. So it is your body getting ready. It's almost like you're going for an interview and you're getting ready, right? So anxiousness or excitement is a natural feeling of how every pore, every cell of your body, every muscle of your body is getting ready for that day that you've been focused on for the last 4 months. So it's up to us to recognize that it's a normal feeling. And secondly, see how you can harness this for better and best impact. Okay. So let me share my screen again. Where did it go? 1 minute. Okay, I did it a full screen. So there you go. So yeah, anxious and nervous. And both feelings have similar manifestations, by the way. Whether you're anxious or whether you are excited, definitely your HR will go up. There will be some adrenaline rush. You'll have some sweaty hands sometimes. Pain sensitivity is reducing, some butterflies in the stomach. I'm literally calling this out because these expressions and these emotions you all might have before a race day or even path to the race day, absolutely normal. Now, when we double click on this a little bit more, there are multitudes of emotions that acts on us. On one side, if you think about that, there is emotion around knowledge and expertise driven. That means you know what is going to happen, you anticipate, and hence you're anxious. Then there is an emotion around positive intent because you're looking forward to it. You want to get it done. You want that medal. You need that medal. You need that experience. You've been thinking about this. So there is that positive intent. Emotions are going through your sort of system. And then, of course, there is a negative feeling as well. You're afraid. You're also anxious. What if I can't finish it? I need it desperately. What if I fail and then have a public failure? Or there is a dread that what if I go there and injure myself very badly, and I'm not able to finish at all. I put in all the efforts, I put in thousands of dollars, signed up for this race, and I go there and I'm like not able to do it at all. What a failure it'll be. That thought process also exists among runners. And on the race day, it's all a combination of all of this. And excitement, the feeling of excitement is literally right in the middle. All of this comes together as a race day excitement. Okay, when you double click on that and you relish that, you should enjoy that moment. Okay, everyone experiences that. And let's also, this is a time we focus on the facts. When all these emotional things flow through your body, it's a good time for us to step back and literally see what are the facts in front of me. And these are the facts, dear runners. First one is, when you are shooting for these long distance runs, especially a full marathon, you are looking at the top 1% of the human population who is even thinking of doing it. When is the last time you were top 1% of anything? I mean, I'm at very rarely I get into the top 1% of anything. So this is my only, path to fame, top 1%. So it's a big deal. Secondly, you are not coming to the start line as a blind person. You have been trained in a science and art based structured training program that more than 2,500 of your fellow runners have gone through it, not once, each of them on an average at least 4. If you just take out on an average 4 seasons, you are looking at 10,000 races have gone through. That is the expertise and the experience that is coming in as our structured training program. So we are not blind here. We know what it is. We have trained for it. So you got to trust your training. Thirdly, that not only you have trained in a structured training program, you have trained hard. We've been doing this. We are measuring your success. Your coaches have told you what you need to do, etc. And you should know that you already won, because the journey is complete. You have reached the destination, which is the start line. You need to know these are the facts. Okay, so that is when you got to think about this. It's not as if you're coming there and it's the end. This is literally the beginning, folks. Every race day is a beginning of a journey of the next season or the next 5 years. This is an ongoing thing. This is not a T20 match. This is a test match. That we do this because health and fitness is a long time journey. Race and other things are just milestones. And once you have that mindset, the pressure comes down. And once the pressure comes down, you start performing a lot better on a race day. That's why I say keep calm and it's a race day. So lastly, race is also a great time to have fun. I hope many of you would have seen, let's say, the video that I had posted on my experience with Berlin, in a Berlin marathon that occurred just last week. The reason why I do that, the reason why I capture it live and share it with all of you is I want to give all of you a vicarious experience of what it means to be in a marathon major. There is a lot of wonderful energy, positive energy, amazing people that you are going to interact with. And just the fact that you are there in that type of an environment is a lot of fun. So when you do a race, yes, many of you will be focused on that day's performance, etc. But don't miss out on the opportunities to have fun. If not during the race, like what I am doing, maybe that's a little too much. You can do it before the race and after the race. It's a celebration of life, celebration of what you have done, the hard work that you've done. Okay. So that is why when you approach the race day, the RHWB philosophy is the one of calmness. Like these monks, you get into the race day and you want to be calm, collected, and just breathing and just focusing on whatever happens will happen, not connected to the outcome, the NATO that I talked about, and just focus on a job at hand, 1 mile at a time. That's the approach. The energy that you have, when you go to the race day, you will see the runners. There are 2 segments of runners you will see, both like as depicted in this picture. On the left side is a beautiful flowing river. On the right side is a raging forest fire. Both these images depict a lot of energy. A lot of energy is being released in these pictures. But the difference between the left is the energy that is on the left side is smooth, languid, steady flow and release of energy. Slowly the river is flowing to its end point. And the energy release on the right side is a burst of energy, tons of energy all getting released all at the same time. We want you to be on the left side, that slow, languid, moving river. That is the way you release your energy on race day. When you do that, when you are in that Buddhist monk kind of mindset where you are calm, collected, and you're just focused on releasing the energy very slowly. And by the way, that's what our training is all about. You will have a magnificent race day. You will enjoy it, you will have fun, and you will have a fantastic race day. So that is what we all need to shoot for. So with this thought process, I want to invite Coach Sharik, who is going to take us through, as I had mentioned, okay, now that you've understood all of this, what are some of the tactical ways in which you need to prepare yourself before and during the race day? Go ahead, Sharik.
Thank you, Coach Bala. One of the things I would just say, I personally do it and it has worked for me before I get lost in the details of the plan. In order to control your anxiousness, actually, I get really anxious with it when I'm starting a race. I just close my eyes, focus on my breathing, do that meditative thingy for like a minute, 2 minutes, and that really calms me down. So see if that works for you. But if you can move on, Bala, the next slide. So let's start with what you're gonna. So your preparation for the race obviously started 18 weeks ago. It's a whole journey that you went. But in this specific case, we're talking about what you're gonna do a week before the race day, right? So the first few bullet points are really about focusing on ensuring you're hydrating yourself every single day. You're taking these tablets or any other electrolyte to make sure that your body composition is doing okay. Obviously, cut out any alcohol. You should have cut out alcohol during most of your training because it really dehydrates your body. If you have any injury that you're running with, make sure you work with your coach. The coach will work with you and will adjust your plan to make sure we can manage your injury. Obviously get your gear ready, and as I just mentioned, right, those of us who know how to meditate, again, it's not a very deep science. Just close your eyes, focus on your breathing, try focusing on air coming through and leaving your nostrils. That's all that meditation is, right? And more importantly, before you run the race, plan the course, right? And those of us who will be traveling to a different city, we should plan it. We should plan the travel route and where we're going to stay, how will we get there. Last but not the least, right? As you know, when you are injured, when anything happens, and when the first tool of any recovery is rest. So it's extremely important that for this 1 week, you catch up on your sleep. If you are that person who sleeps 4 hours, 5 hours a day, try sleeping 8 hours a day, right? Make sure that you're fully rested. And that's how your body will recover from all these 18, 17 weeks of grueling training that you've undertaken.
Absolutely.
You can move on.
Yeah, there's one point I wanted to add here, Coach. Just my personal experience. In my early sort of days of running marathons and stuff, I used to think that the preparation for a race day starts the day before. Like tomorrow is the race day. Today I'll start preparing myself, drink a lot of water and whatever I need to do. But you know what? I made a cardinal error of not understanding that hydration for your entire body is maybe even 2 weeks, if not a week. 2 weeks of hydration you need to do so that you feel fully hydrated on the race day. And I made a mistake. I didn't drink properly, like in terms of water, but I started drinking something else. I was in customer meets and such, and I was having alcohol and such. And I came to a marathon and I had a miserable experience, even though I was trained very well. So this cutting out of alcohol, I don't know if you have already done it, but if let's say you've been drinking a little bit here and there. When I say drinking, I'm talking about having a beer or two here and there. make it a point, cut it off completely from now to the race if it is 1 week earlier. I would suggest I cut out alcohol for a month before my last marathon, and I felt amazing. When I say cut out, I don't even drink that much. I just drink a little bit. Even that I cut it out. And I felt amazing from a hydration standpoint. This is a learning on the later stages of my experience running. And I wanted to share with all of you that you all should do that. Back to you, Coach Shari.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you can move on to the next slide. So now the week has passed. Now this is an evening before, your next morning is your race day. Make sure your dinner is nice. It's carb loaded. Please avoid fried food. Do not go for that fried chicken or fried paneera or fried pakora for your dinner. If you do that, the next day when you're running, you're going to literally feel it going up and down in your tummy. The next thing is obviously, make sure your clothing is all set. The bib is attached to your shirt. Make sure your watch is charged. The last thing you want is, especially if you're doing a virtual run, the last thing you want is not getting any credit for your run, right? And as we go down, we'll talk about how you should use your watch, like when should you pause, when should you not pause, stuff like that. Make sure your shoes, your socks, and everything is all set to go. Start looking at the weather. I wouldn't say look at the weather before the day. The good news is weather science is so perfect that you can at least know 48 hours before what the weather will be with pretty good confidence. So if it's going to rain, you'll have to make sure that you account for that, right? I would say, especially for people who are running New York City, figure out when you're going to wake up, right? Your wave may be starting at 10 in the morning. You're most likely getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning, right? So accordingly, try going to sleep, try getting 8 hours of sleep. You may not be able to get it, but at least go for it, right? And then last but not the least, as we just said, drink a lot of fluids, right? So before the race starts, use that porta potty or whatever facility is available, but make sure that you reach the start line fully hydrated. If you can move to the next slide. Okay, so this is a very comprehensive checklist. I'm not going to go through each and every one of them. So this is more like a reference, but I'll just call out few things, right? I would say it's extremely important that you carry your gels, right? Even if the gels are being handed out on the race course, you may, for instance, most of the gels are based on timing, right? If you're using goo gel, for instance, right, it should be taken every 45th minute, right? People on the race course may not be handing it out to you at every 45th minute. They typically give out to you at mile distances, right? So that's extremely important. The anti-chafing cream is extremely important. The nip guard again falls in the same category for male runners, is extremely important. The body preparation. One of the things that we as runners, when we're going on a 2 or a 3 hour long run, the thing that really makes us anxious is what if I have to answer a nature's call, right? In the middle of a run. Especially when I plan my weekend runs, I have to figure out that there is a restroom somewhere, like a public restroom, like a public park nearby. So try, look at the meals that are being advised over here. Try having that breakfast that will encourage the bowel movement. And last but not the least, as we just spoke about, it's mind preparation, right? Marathon running, half marathon running, any endurance event running, it's physical training, but it's also mental training. It's that mental strength that is tested.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Coach. Absolutely. And if I may add, so recently, folks, this anti-chafing cream body glide, I started using glide, and I used to have the nipple guard before. I'm talking for men especially. This is serious. Don't forget it, and especially if you're running full marathon, it's you are ending up with a lot of trouble. But I started using this body glide. Man, it's fantastic. I hope the other coaches here have a similar experience. It is really good. I not only used on my sort of chest area, I use it on my groin area. I also use it on my foot, like especially on the ankle area, because if the shoes start chafing there, then that's also a problem, right? So I applied liberally, and it is just phenomenal. I had great experience last 2 times, so I strongly recommend having that glide cream. for your needs.
Absolutely. I would say one thing, and we're going to talk about it when we get to a slide that will say nothing new, and I'll come back to the chefing thing. But again, on the morning of the race day, right? Uh, Again, depending on what race you're running, where you are, right? If you're running New York City race, getting 90 minutes before your actual start will actually not gonna work for you, right? You'll be waking hours before. So, but this is really like, let's say you're running the RHWB race, right? So make sure you wake up early in time. We spoke about the breakfast. We spoke about clearing the tummy room, drinking water. We've been talking about. Again, just have that runner's prayer that you get to go before you start running, and not and you're not blessed with the bowel movements while you're running. So pray to your Lord for that. Gels and glues we spoke about. Headband and bandana is also extremely important for people who are like me who wear goggles, glasses. Sometimes we sweat so much that they can cause you a problem over there, right? None water bottles. Hopefully these will be available on the race course. Anti-chafing, Coach Bala just spoke about. Extremely important that you have a plan for emergency, right? So something happens, right? You fell down or something happens, make sure at the back of your bib or somewhere your emergency contact number is written, right? In case of emergency, your WhatsApp location, that may be shared as well. And last but not the least, have like maybe a first aid band-aid in your pocket, just in case, in case somewhere you fell down let's say you're running a Philly marathon, right? Between 13th and 20th mile, it's a relatively isolated course. Nobody's there, right? In that 6 to 7 mile range. So I would advise in courses like that, it's better to be prepared to be, running alone. If you can move on to the next slide.
Absolutely. One point, especially for the new runners here and who are running for the first time, the bib that everybody has, where you have the race number and it's available, and you must wear it for all the races, including our runners high race. The one idea of the bib is, of course, it has the speed, like timing counter and that type of stuff. But it is also emergency information placard, so to speak. So every bib on the backside, there'll be emergency contact names, etc. And you should make sure you fill it. They say, right, it's not required till an emergency happens. And when an emergency happens, that will be very valuable. Okay. So make sure when you receive the bib, you need to fill it in. And if you are runners high, we will have our own bib where you have to print it out. Even in that, you should fill in your emergency contact. Okay?
Cool. So this is what I was talking about, right? The essence of this slide is extremely simple. On the race day, do not do something new, including the chafing thingy, right? So for instance, I personally, like Coach Bala shared his experience, right? He's able to have, the nip, instead of nip guard, he's able to use the body glide. I have tried that, and on my long runs, I have realized that maybe I sweat so much or I didn't apply it properly that it didn't work for me, right?
Yep.
So it's extremely important that whatever you have to do, you have already sorted this, tried it out in your practice runs, right? So as we said, right, no new shoes. Now, I have bought some new shoes, but on the race day is not the first time when I'll be wearing those shoes. So I would have run at least 10 to 15 miles in those new shoes to make sure that, I'm not wearing them for the first time. As we said, no new gels. Gels is extremely important, right? Some gels, actually most of the gels, almost all of the gels, I would say, are time driven, are time triggered, right? So goo, as I said, is 45 minutes. UCAN is advised is 60-minute frequency. But whatever that gel is, you should have tried it in your long run. Don't try a new one. No new clothing. Again, it's something that ideally you should have already worn. The last thing you want to do is, especially if you're going on a marathon and you're running for say 4+ hours, whatever you're wearing is going to rub against your body, right? It's going to rub against your shoulders, going to rub against your tummy, whatever it is, right? So you don't want to be having those chafings or, those issues. And same thing with socks. Don't try any new socks. And obviously no new watch. This is something that is extremely important. And especially if you're doing a virtual run, you really need to know how your watch works, right? The last thing you want to do in a virtual run is, let's say you're supposed to run 13.1 miles, and at 12.9 miles, you accidentally shut down your watch because it's a new watch. You're playing with it, right? And that's going to cause serious problems in, getting you a certificate and evidence that you actually did it. If you remember one thing, nothing new. We'll move on. Good. Okay, so this is about now. So everything is done and dusted, settled. You have meditated. You have now started the run. So this is an advisable distance as to, what will it take for you to get in the running rhythm, right? So for a 5K distance, for instance, you may take up to the first half a mile to get in your rhythm, right? 10K between 0 and 1 mile. Half marathon up to like maybe 0 to 3 miles, you can get to some, let's say your target pace is 9, right? Let's say that's what you want to do. You can do your half mile, first 0 to 3 miles at say 9:30 or 9:45 or 9:20. And after the third mile, then you can look to lock down your 9-minute a mile pace. Similarly for full marathon, right? Again, depending on what you have been doing in your training and your long runs, ideally you should have tried this warm-up strategy. But the idea is, as we have already also mentioned, 10% slower than target pace is something as a thumb rule that you can carry yourself with. Yeah. This is again more around the race strategy. Depending on what type of distance you're running, right? Let's say you're running a 5K. Then in theory, you can do what they call negative split, which means the second half of your race can be faster than the first half. But as soon as you go into these half marathon, full marathon distances, if you start too slow and you expect that in the last half marathon, last 13 miles, you're going to speed up, that may not work out, right? For most of us, it doesn't. So steady state running is something that would be, more advisable for that particular distance. Yeah.
Yep. And those of you, not everyone, those of you who do bank runs essentially is run walk principle. And it's not something you will do it on the race day. I mean, by now, many of you would have, if you are in this kind of type of runners, like I am like that kind of a runner, where I don't run full 1 mile, I run 0.9 miles and walk for 0.1 mile. Good time to do that. If you have been doing it in the long run, definitely go for it. Then you will be able to have a little gap, and then you are able to maintain the steadiness. And for yet others, they don't like this bank run because they don't want to stop. They want to keep going. Fantastic. Maybe that's what you're doing in the long runs. Continue doing that. Okay. So, but this is the bulk of the race. You nail this when let's say if I take full marathon, by mile 20, the success, or a mile 10 or a mile 4 of 10K, the success of this phase is when you exit this phase, you have enough energy to get into the last phase. If you leave this phase with complete exhaustion, then you are sort of messing up your race strategy. That's the way the steady state running you need to be thinking about. And I'm assuming you have done many of those things in your long run already, how to think through this.
Yeah. So, as Coach Bala said, right, there are literally 3 phases of, in a race like a full marathon or a half marathon. This is the last phase. This for a full marathon is, can be a dreaded phase, or it can be the phase where, you can really turn on your beast mode and just, because there is nothing left after this, right? So for a 5K race, it's a beautiful, for a 5K, 8K races, this is a beautiful phase, right? This is where you literally go full steam ahead. There's nothing stopping you. It's as if, some crazy dog is chasing you and you're running away from the dog, right? Half marathon, full marathons, again, give it all that you have got. But I would say for some of us, be prepared, right? That if you're not able to, right? Because by the time you've done your 20 miles, depending on whether this is your first or second race, it is possible that you may have to slow down as compared to your steady state phase, but that's okay, because at the end of the day, right, you are almost pretty much there, right? But if you can give yourself, give all that you've got, because at the end of it, obviously, as one may say, the glory awaits you.
Absolutely. May I ask the coaches, my fellow panelists, a question? Let's start with maybe Coach Saurabh. Coach, like when you look at your full marathon experience, how would you see or how would you explain your last 6 mile experiences in few races, the best and the worst?
So let me start with the worst, Coach Bala. This was I believe, my second marathon or so. So first marathon, I just took it very easy. In the second marathon, I had a confidence that yes, I can go a little bit faster, right? So I did a very basic mistake, which is I went a little fast in the first half itself. And that actually gave me a good setback after the mile 20. I had numerous cramps and whatnot. I finished it, although, but that was a learning for me. So from that onwards, I've decided that no matter what happens, because the energy is so high in the beginning that you tend to just go fast if you're going with the flow, right? So from that point onwards, I've decided that the first half I have to just go calm, steady, straight running, as Coach Sharik mentioned. And from 18 mile onwards, it is when based upon how I'm feeling, how is the weather, how is the energy level in my body, I tend to increase the speed and carry it on till whatever end I can, and then that's how I finish it. But that's the learning from the second marathon for me.
Absolutely. And Sanjay, your experiences?
I've had very different experiences. I've done two full marathons. Each one was different. The first one was pretty steady. 6:42 was my overall timing. The second one, I had issues with my knee. Started at around mile 13, and then it was a big slog. Lasted for the rest of the 13 miles. So not sure best example from me. My half marathons have been much more controlled. My last one was 212, what, 207, and essentially towards the end, as Coach Sharik mentioned, I increased my pace in the last 2 miles, not the last 3 miles. Maybe that's what I should do this time. But it was very good. I really liked that experience.
Got it. And Sharik, what was your absolute best last 6 mile experience look like?
So this was in New York City, and I'm really proud of it because in New York City, the first 13 miles, or rather the first 14 miles, are relatively flat. It's the last 12 miles which are hilly, right? You start literally from the Queensboro Bridge, which is the 15th mile. This is the first, it's for a mile, literally, you keep on going up and up and up. It's as if it never finishes, right? And after that, you enter First Ave. Again, it's First Ave is an uphill run. Then you enter Manhattan. Anyway, the bottom line is the second half is more hilly, and my performance in that race was pretty even, right? But I started at about 720 pace, and my last 10K, my last 5K was again at about 730 pace, right? What I have, and I've also run, so that's the race that I ran in 3 hours 17 minutes. I've also run a race which took me about 4 hours 37 minutes, 5 hours, in which my last 10K were like a dredge, right? It was a big burden, right? I literally dropped by 2 to 3 miles. So in summary, right, what I have seen is if you follow the RHWB endurance plan, which is the kind of plan that I followed, right? If you have run those 700, 800 miles in 18 weeks, then your body gets trained not only physically, but also mentally. It's a physical game and it's a mental game,
Correct.
right?
Absolutely. And
But if you haven't been able to run the entire, your training cycle, then you should be prepared that after the 18th, 19 miles, your wheels may come off.
correct. See,
At least that's my personal experience.
no, absolutely. And see, guys, listeners here, the key point that I want all of you to take away from this section is a race is made or not made in the last X miles of a race. Okay. You need to keep that in mind always. If you keep that in mind always, then you will control everything. All the things we are saying will automatically fall into place. Not releasing your energy too much, not burning out like a forest fire, etc. You know that the real race starts, let's say if it's a full marathon, the real race starts at mile 20 or a mile 10 for half marathon and so on and so forth. Keep that in mind. Rest all will automatically flow. Okay, let's keep going.
So we'll move on to the next slide. So again, this is few, gels that are there. Again, as I said, uh, primarily gels should be taken time-based, and you should look at your gel pack and see what the recommended time duration is. But what you see here, there's obviously based on your pace, there's a correlation between time and the distance, right? So this is a recommended a breakout of when you should take your gels. But remember, really, really important, and especially for people who are running a full marathon, do not start your full marathon with an empty stomach, right? You are literally running on carbs. So make sure you take carbs before you start your race, right? You may take these gels as a carb. I personally take 2 slices of bread with 2 tablespoons of jam. That gives me roughly 100 grams of carb, which is good for the 45 to 60 minutes, the first 45 to 60 minutes. And at the 45th minute, even if I'm not feeling hungry, and this is the important thing, even if you're not hungry, take the gel. Because by the time you need the gel, if you take the gel at that moment, that's too late.
Yep.
Yeah. So if we move on, again, extremely important, salt tablet. By the way, if it's expected to rain, remember to put them in a Ziploc bag. Otherwise, you may have other issues going on. But try it out. And again, if you haven't tried salt tablets during your long runs, please don't do that on the race day. So by this time, you should have already done it by now. Yeah, as it's written here, GU and Gatorade is not enough because it may not have enough sodium, right, for your body's need. So again, it's something you should have tried. You should have observed that, hey, if I take salt tablets, I don't get cramped in my long runs. If we move on, this is a very detailed slide again for your reference. This tells you, it will help you appreciate why you may need salt tablets for your race.
Absolutely. I mean, the way this one is so useful for me, and this was an aha moment for me, is take an example of a full marathon. Okay, I'm around 5-hour mark is my timing. So if you look at the 5-hour mark timing full marathon goal pace, the amount of sodium that I lose or my body needs, let's just take sodium, can take potassium, you can take anything, but let's take sodium, is around 2,500 at a minimum. 2,500 milligram is a minimum that I would lose in my full marathon. Now, if I just not take any salt tablets and I just focus only on, Gatorade and none and that type of stuff, which is a gel, which is great. Let's take none. None has got about 120 milligram of sodium. Okay. So if I take 10 of those, that's a large number of nuns. That is still only 1,200 mg. But I've lost 2,500 at a minimum. Or in other words, if I have to cover for salt just by having gels, I need to take 20 gels, which is not happening. See, if you take Cliff and other bars, it's even less, 60 mg only. Or in other words, guys, if you do not have salt tablets, you will have a salt deficiency towards the back half of the race. And when you have salt deficiency, you will have cramps, period. You cannot run away with this foundational scientific fact. That's why you need to have a salt tablet. Okay, and of course, you can look at other timings and extrapolate it to yourself. Back to you, Shan.
Okay. Again, depending on the weather, typically these fall races are awesome races because the weather is not that bad. But when you're running in, say, May, June time frame, you're running an NYRR, those races in New York City, we gravitate towards those fire hydrants, where they typically are spring water. So again, this is something that is important because you need to literally keep your body temperature, down. So as it says, it's extremely important when when the temperature outside is higher than 65 degree Fahrenheit. One thing that I would share with you all is that, and again, it's sort of the relevant question would be, right, how should I dress up for a race, right? Or for any run, right? When you start running, you should dress up as if it's 15 degrees warmer than the current temperature. So when it's 65 degrees out, and if you're running in 65 degrees, it's as if you're running in or you're walking in 80 degree Fahrenheit temperature, right? So imagine if the temperature outside is 75, which is actually very pleasant for a walk, but if you start running, then it's as if you're walking in a 90-degree Fahrenheit outing, right? So that's why it's extremely important for you to cool your body. Yeah. If we move on to the next slide. This is again more important for RHWB or for any other race, right? As soon as you finish the race, it's extremely important that especially if you're having nausea after the run, just don't go for any food. Don't sit with your head bent over. Don't sit by the side. You should right away approach a medical tent. So in RHWB, we will have a medical tent. So you should absolutely approach the tent. If you're running an NYRR race, you will notice there will always, or any Philly marathon, any race, you'll always have medical people, medical personnel at the finish line. So to make sure you approach them if you have any symptoms, right? Don't take them lightly.
Absolutely.
Next slide. I think I'll hand it over to you, Bala, now.
Yes, yes. So hope you have had a decent understanding of not only how to do it before, 1 week before, and one evening before, one day before, and during the race, and immediately post-race, few thought processes. This deck will be shared with all of you. So please take a look at it and literally use it as a checklist. Now let us talk about come back to runner's high. This is the beautiful certificate that's waiting for all of you. The specialty of being in RHWB and having a coach is that we know your runs, we know your timings, your official timing, we'll ask for it. And if you get a PR, you will also get a PR notification here, like shown as PR. It'll be shown as PR. You will have this beautiful certificate that you can take a printout and you can keep it for your references. So that is the certificate. And you also, there is one thing, because it's we all are certified RRCA coaches. So we need to make sure that you actually complete the distances. Okay. And just to make sure everyone is 1000% clear, 5K is 3.1. So whatever distance you see, if you're running, especially a virtual race, that means not an official, like a race where you get official timings. Let's say RHWB race for that matter, or you are running by your own on a race day, which we encourage people to do it. We will recognize all of that as long as in the final search, which is our data that we choose, the distance is actually done, and it is not your if you are using your watch, it is not your moving time, but it is your actual time between start and stop of the watch. That's why we don't ask you to stop the watch. Complete the distances. There have been, unfortunately, every season, it's a heartbreaking for all of us coaches. Every season, there are few runners who would go and complete 13 miles without realizing that 0.1 mile is still there, and they just shut down the watch. And unfortunately, we are not able to recognize that as a completed half marathon. Okay, so I would suggest everyone, if you are doing a virtual race, 2.1 mile more, 13.2, and then switch off the watch. What is the big difference in timing that's going to give you? A couple of maybe 30 seconds. That's fine. Allow it to go, but complete a little extra. Okay. For those of you who are in the light program, because you do not have a coach per se, but if you want the certificate, please send the information to me or to anyone that you know of, like any coaches that you know of. We will collect the timing and we will provide you the certificate after making sure that those timings are confirmed. So if you're running an RHWB race or your own virtual race, we will go by the final search data. But if you're running in any other public races that you are running, you should send us a screenshot of your race timing for us to give you the certificate with that race timing. Okay, so that's your race certificate. Again, as I mentioned, you can't pause your watch if you're running the RHWB race. You cannot pause the watch during race because even if you pause the watch, we know that we take it not the moving time. We take it as when did you start the watch, when did you start the run, and when did you end the run. That is the timing that we will be taking for your certificate and official purposes. This is the link. The New Jersey Race Day, which is our season ending finale, is happening next week, October 19th. I've already sent you information in your final search, but in this deck also you will get the information which the presentation will share shortly. It is in Colonia Park, which we have been doing for at least 6 seasons now. It's almost our race course, one of the most beautiful race course that I have been to. It is, if you haven't been there, it is river on both sides and the trail in the middle. And now it is fall season. It almost is like a paradise on earth. You know, it's a beautiful weather, beautiful. I mean, we have had it in pouring rain also. People have done the race, but we expect very beautiful weather, incredible fall colors with awesome temperatures. You have earned it because you've trained right through the summer, and a race that is being produced by RHWB for RHWB. So all of the folks you will see, from the volunteers to from the chief guest, we are having a special chief guest come in as well. We are the only race that we are doing it for ourselves. So you will have a very special feeling. And those of you who are doing races beyond RHWB also, if you are free that weekend, you should come and join us, because it's also a season finale. So you can come in, let's say you are doing a half marathon 2 weeks from now in your local city marathon. You can still come here and do it like a long run, maybe. That's what you can do, but still come and participate in the race, enjoy the experience. The only race that I know of, at least, provides you full-fledged Indian lunch right after the race, right at the start area. So not only sign up for the race, that's the registration link is out there. Please also sign up for the lunch. And let's all have a sumptuous lunch after the race, which is always very tasty. Collect your medals, take some pictures, and have a glorious end to the season. Okay. These are the things. We will be shortly launching the bibs, but you can go to this link here. All your bibs are ready with your unique name and number. This, for example, this is how it will be. You can go to this, click on this link. It is all bucketed by your first name. So go, let's say if I have to go for mine, it'll be Bala. So B, go to the folder between A to whatever, where the letter B is, click on it. I will have my bibs ready in that, and you can download it, print it, and make it your own on for race day. And it's all individual numbers, individual names are there. T-shirts, those of you who ordered T-shirts, it's already here in the US. We thought we'll get it today, but it is we just saw the status, it's in customs, so most likely it'll be tomorrow or latest Monday. But whatever happens, we start shipping it on Monday, so 1 or 2 days you will get the T-shirt. Those of you who are outside the New Jersey, and folks who have not got shipping, it's all be available in Mona's house, and you can come and pick it up in time for the race day. Those of you who ordered T-shirts. And then medals are also nice. You look at this medal here. That's the medal which we are going to provide. Very exciting, very nice looking medal for our race will be given and they ship to all of you. All the folks who are signed up for Pro and Masters will get medal. Whatever you paid for it is already there. And those who are being in the race day, please bring your friends, family, everyone who want to participate, and you will be able to come for it. The links for sign up, the links for everything is there in this website, in this deck, like registration, sign up, and everything. We're going to share this presentation shortly in our Coach Corner. Please go in and you will get the links and you will be able to register yourself. Okay. So that is, that's the race day, details. Again, just a separate slide for that. Believe it or not, we are also beginning to start thinking about season 13. I mean, I know it's a bit, I can't even believe that I'm saying that, but in fact, that is what it is. Lots of folks have started pinging for how to join for season 13. And I'm sure many of your friends who are family who look at you and they get inspired and they say, hey, you are not doing anything and suddenly you're finishing half marathon. Are you kidding me? How do I join? I'm sure there are folks who are reaching out to you. Send this link. This is the expression of interest in our website. And when you go there, if let us say one of your friends want to join us for next season, all they have to do is enter their name, email, and phone number, and they sign up. When they do that, they will be, once we open the actual registration for next season, which will happen a little later, right after race day, they will be sent an email, and that email will have registration for next season. Okay, so this is the expression of interest. So that's where we are. So I'll open it up for some questions, and I see some questions coming in the chat as well. And, folks can answer from there, but I just want to end with this one simple thought. we are, as you go through this training, we are forged in the crucible of adversity. Adversity is our training, up and down and hard and hot and what all rain and what all things you have gone through, and you continue to do that. We do that, and that's how you all become amazing human beings of RHWB. That is who we are, and that's who we try to be. And it's just been a brilliant experience with all of you. And let's just hold for a second and ask any questions people have. I see that a lot of questions are coming in the chat window. So we'll give a few minutes or maybe 1 or 2 minutes. If there is any question that's coming up, we can answer right away. Shoot your questions. For the sake of recording, I'll just also say it's in the RHWB race day is a back and forth race. 6 miles up, 6 miles back kind of thing for a half marathon. You will have 3 water stations, so 3 going forward, 3 going back. So for, let's say, if it is a half marathon, you'll have 6 stations. So every 1.5 to 2 miles, you will have water stations. You'll have water, you'll have bananas, some chocolates in some places, and a lot of love will be there in every station. There will be folks in the bike as well, bike supporters who will be like taking, all our RHWB runners, by the way, they all will be having in their backpack, they'll have some Gatorades and some first aid, and they'll be like just biking the course. So that if you want something in between also you can get, or if there's an emergency, they will be able to help. And of course, lunch and dinner, lunch will be provided at the registration area. That is where the start and the finish line is. Okay. And if you're having the RHWB t-shirt, please wear it. Especially this season one, you'll wear it. For some reason, if you haven't ordered, unfortunate. But at least if you have RHWB t-shirts, wear it. They'll take some nice pictures and it'll be nice. Okay.
We have a professional photographer there as well.
Yes, we'll have a professional photographer, and it's very special. It's a day of celebration for all of us. You should all take part in that. Any other questions? Going once. Good time to put in the chat. Any final thoughts from any of our coaches for a race day perspective? I think we have covered pretty much all the things that we wanted to say, I guess. Final question, going twice.
Coach, do we have a massage station this time?
We have, of course. We will have massage guns in the volunteer sort of the pit stops, and there is a medical tent with like a massage station as well as there as part of the medical tent. Bathrooms, yes, there are I think 2 places in the course that you can basically, there is a porta potty as well as a regular bathroom in the start and finish line area, and then there is 1 or 2 accessible in the path as well. And I'll provide you that information about the course information shortly in the coach call.
There's a question about the bib link. I think
yes,
the bib link
it is there in the Google Doc. That in fact, why don't we share the Google Doc presentation here? But I'm going to share it in the coach corner anyway. But let me share the presentation link also in that way,
There was a question about what distances we will have water stations. I think that's already covered.
Yeah.
Every 2 or 3 miles at least, every 2 miles, 1.5 to 2 miles, you will have a water station.
Yeah. And this is the presentation link. I'm sharing it. It has all the, yes, but Joey, I would be running as well, but not the full distance. But not only me, many coaches will be running as well. Many of their runners are running. So it is always our pleasure to, we won't run as a full thing, but yes, we'll be there in the course cheering for all of you. That's it, because that's for RHWB, by RHWB, Joey. So 100% yes. We'll be there to see your first half marathon glory that's going to come. Okay. So I think we have covered all the questions. We are all here. We're not going anywhere. Please ask your coaches any questions. Look for the coach corner for all these links. Now that I've also posted the Google Doc link, please click on it so that you're there and everything is there. And then we go from there, and I'll see you guys on the race day, happy and ready, and finish another glorious day of running. Okay. So on behalf of all of us, thank you so much. And I'll stop the recording.